everybody, welcome to my channel. A new UB battle report. Play a game against War of the Dark God. A practice game. Basically I made a couple of changes to my list. I wanted to try out some new options from the book that I didn't try out yet. For example, the Prophet of Ashuruk. I wanted to take the opportunity to play Occultism, but still having possibility of profiting from the attribute of Alchemy to gain some reroll to wound. Then I decided to play without any Tauring presence, meaning I put two cowboys with Tauric ritual option. The first one is the BSB with a 1-up rerollable Hero's Art, and second one is the Overlord. I wanted to try the Ranger's Boot, which gives him a huge movement range with 9 advance and 18 on the march. So really high movement for the Overlord. I really like this option. And then two Conjure Adept, also something new that I wanted to try out with Pyromancy and Witchcraft, 2 Adept, one time with Binding Scroll. The core is more or less the same as before, but I decided to put a Vassal Bunker for my both Conjure. I didn't have enough space in character spot to put them on Vassal Steed, which would have been much better, I guess, because then it's also a good possibility to have a cheap chaff option if you need to. You can also throw the mage under the bus, so to say. Then I selected 20 Disciples of Lugar. I really like the Swiss knife ability from the Lugar. With great weapon, they're great to attack each, strength 6, AP 4. And then you can decide whether have flaming attack or not. So I really love this option. 7 Tauric with sped weapon to be mostly a bunker for both characters if I face a shooty army, but also a good scoring unit with a lot of attack, strength 4. 2 gunnery team. Also wanted to try out the both rocket battery gunnery team. The ability to move and still shot with strength 5 and multi-wound D3 is not bad. One time with Caddy Manifestation to play a bit with the flaming synergy from the army, and 2 slingshot, Vassal slingshot, and 5 Vassal cavalry to be a piece of chaff. My opponent play a quite common War of the Dark God army now with 3 Feldark, one time the Ancestor, 2 times the Elder, 1 Giant, 2 piece of chaff with the Raw Hounds, 2 units of Horsemen, 1 Battle Shrine, 2 units of Warriors, and the Exalted Herald. We played Encircle and Secure Target. Here you have the spell selection of both players. I decided to go with Great Weapon, Blessed Inscription for the Overlord. I guess I cannot really profit from the Onyx core against so much Feldrak, so I decided to go for the high strength and rerolling to wound weapon. And my opponent chose for the Exalted Herald, Veilwalker, and our target. What do I think about the matchup? I cannot really profit from the flaming synergies against the 3 Feldark, so I have to target a bit something else with the war machines, maybe rather Battle Shrine, Giant. I can also use the Pyromancy to kill some chaff and maybe wound the Giant a little bit. Of course, my Tauric character cannot really fight the Ancestor, is too strong for me, but I can have good chances to fight against both Elder and also the Exalted Herald could be a good fight for them, I guess. I think in particular I need to threat the Herald with my Overlord because I have a high mobility, I can charge very far away, so if I can threat him with a Blessed Inscription, Great Weapon, it's not a matchup that you will fancy. Of course, my best option to manage the Ancestor are the Lugar, because it's quite hard for me to face the Ancestor, but if I can do some wounds from range damage and then fight with the Lugar in close combat, that could be doable for me. And since I'm facing an MSU, I will be quite compact, so I have to focus myself on one of both Sacred Target probably. Here you have deployment. My opponent chose the side. I choose south, put his Sacred Target here, I put mine here. After consideration, I think it would have been much better to put it as far away as possible to force him to choose, because I know that I will struggle to play for both, and I cannot really go front against his army. And then he gave me Defender and he decided to drop everything with Horseman, Giant, Battle Shrine within War Unit, Exalted Herald, Ancestor, 2 units of Warhounds, first Elder, unit of Barbarian Horsemen, second unit of Warrior, and second Elder. And basically, when I saw this, I thought, why not giving myself some space, sometimes to do some range damage, so to be as far away as possible from him and play a bit with the Impassable. I think he would need some time to go around the Impassable. It's almost impossible for the Battle Shrine, and maybe Giant will be difficult to be in my line soon, so he will need some time. So I decided to deploy quite more or less in a corner, vanguarding the vassals here on the left. Then here I have my BSB within the Torok unit, the block of vassal with both mage, the both gunnery team. Basically, I saw that with March with 9 I can march within the forest and then shoot with no cover at this Elder, which is not bad. My unit of Citadel with the General Adept of Occultism, the Infernal Warrior, Luga block with the Overlord, and Orc Slave. Shackle Slave, I think it's the new name. I still need to get used to it. And both Vassal Slingshot at the back, of course. Let's move on to Eastern 1. He moves around, but a bit carefully with both the Elder and the Exalted Herald to avoid a bit of the shooting. Moves around the Impassable with the Elder, so we'll need some time to be in my line, which is not bad for me, and moves around with the Giant, also quite far away from my line, so that's not bad, and decided to move back with the Elder to be as far away as possible from my shooting weapon. And then in Magic, he tried to put an hereditary spell on my Disciples of Luga, but wasn't able to cast it. And then he did 222 and another number to against my Luga, I guess, and he did 4 wounds to me. But then in return, with the miscast, he got 1 wound in return, so which is not bad for Luga against 1 wound of Exalted Herald. This is not a bad trade. And let's move on to my turn 1. So I move a bit forward, but carefully to be within 18 for the breast weapon. I move forward with this War Machine to shoot at this Elder, and the other one to shoot at the other Elder with no cover. I move out of the rune with the BSB's unit, moves a bit around with the Lugar to be able to threat if he march forward with a charge. And that's it more or less in Magic. Trying to cast a Soft Comet, the Hereditary from new Hereditary from ID behind the Impassable Terrain, but it's Dispel. Then I tried a Breast Weapon, but I fail, and I tried a Fireball, but I fail also. And shooting, I did nothing, so no hits. I tried to aim at the Ancestor with both Slingshots, but did nothing, and the same for both Gunnery Team, hitting only on 5+, all these War Machines from long range. His turn 2, I didn't saw this charge. I thought it was a bit more far away than that. Basically, he took both charges. He had 1 charge here on a 9 Swift Ride, 1 on a 10 Swift Ride, and here with the Ancestor against the Luga on a 12 Swift Ride. So I say, okay, I have to hold, because the Flea Corridor were really bad. If I fled from this one, I would end up here in the Ruin, be really out of the battle with a big block. I don't know. I just saw, let's stay. And he was able to connect with this one, so he will be able, because I was stupid to put my general here, he will be able to kill the Adept of Occultism early in the game, because with 6 attack, strength 6 should be able to kill me. I just hope I will be able to hold my Steadfast and then countercharge. I had some counter charges because I saw he might take this charge forward, so I was careful with the BSB, but didn't really see this one coming, and that's the one he was able to connect, unfortunately for me. And here I failed charge with the Ancestor, blocking himself a bit with the Impassable, so I don't think it was a really good charge for him to take this one. But basically, since he had no chaffing option, it's so why not just try it to block me and avoid the counter charge in the flank of the Elder. That was his idea. And he moves carefully a bit forward with some of the units, remains behind the Impassable with the Elder, and behind the hill with both scoring unit. In Magic, I'm using Binding Scroll to avoid the -1 resilience and leadership. I don't want to have a Steadfast on 7 rerollable. Then he tries a Grave Call but fail. He tries a Mark for Doom on my Overlord, but I'm able to dispel it. And with the Hereditary spell, he's able to do 3 wounds to my Rocket Battery, Flaming Rocket Battery. In close combat, he's able to one-shot my Adept, and I'm able to pass Steadfast and Reform both on 8 rerollable, and just to reform to the front. My turn 2, and no screenshot unfortunately from this turn. That's the only one I missed. Basically, I took the counter charge and I moved the BSB out of arc of the Elder, but looking this way, ready to counter charge. If he charges again, I should be able to counter charge in the flank. So I think that's good for me, and I just shuffle around a bit with the remaining unit. In Magic, I'm able to put -2 close combat weapon skill on the offensive, defensive, and agility on the Elder to help me a bit, and I'm also able to get the Wheel Turns boosted version. Basically, with Citadel Guard, I will have like, I don't know, 16, 17 attacks on 4+4+, and then I will have 4 attacks on 4+4+, everything rerollable, AP3, and then 4 Luga in contact, 8, 9 attack with champion, plus 4 in the back, so 9 plus 4, like 13 attacks on 4+4+. So I fancy my chances to kill the Elder. We'll see what happens. And I think, what else? Shooting, I was able to do nothing again, so I tried to shoot with both war machines. I moved forward to be in short range of the Elder, but both war machine hitting on 4+, I did nothing to him. I think he did 1 armor save, but nothing else. This wound I made it with standard shoot from the charge, of course. But yeah, both war machine within short range. I expected a bit more with 4 shots hitting on 4+, and then wounding on 5 up. And then I tried again both Vassal Slingshot onto the Feather Ancestor, but again 5 up, I did nothing. Close combat, I'm able to do 2 wounds with the Luga, 2 wounds with the Overlord, but nothing with the 16 attack from Citadel Guard. And he's able to, he has 2 wounds remaining after combat and has to flee. I think it's almost an auto break. He only did like 2 wounds to me, so he has to flee. I decided to reform because if I would have pursued with the Luga, I would have gone this way, then I would have been in danger from charges of the Elder and from the Exalted Herald, possibly in the flank. If I did a long overrun, I would get both in the flank, so that would have been a bit too dangerous for me, I guess. And I decided to reform as well with Citadel Guard, because pursuing in this direction is also not so a good idea. Yeah, so he just fled this direction a couple of inches, and I reformed. Unfortunately for me, since I wanted to avoid the Ancestor going into the side, I wanted to cover the possibility he had with the movement. I reform in a bad way because I cannot charge the rallying Elder, and that's a big mistake from my part. His turn 3 took the charge with the Elder onto my Citadel block, feeling confident since I have flank charge, counter charge with the BSB, so not so bad for me. He moves forward with the Warriors to threat me. He decided not to charge the war machine since I put the overrun in a way that he would contact nothing, and then I would have good counter charges with Toruk or BSB or what I want. Again, he moves around with the Elder, so I guess that's at least something good from the position I took after the reform. He wasn't able to really go in my flank, so he decided to move around and go here, and he's losing quite a bit of time. I was surprised that he took, it's turn 3, he's still around the impassable, not threatening me, and that's one of his best weapons in this matchup actually. So I was a bit surprised of his play with the Ancestor. Also the Hounds stay a bit behind. I think there would have been a possibility to chaff me and then move forward. If you see the position here, he could have been able to just use 22, chaff me, and then move forward with the Ancestor to threat me. I think that would have been a bit more aggressive and threatening to me. Magic, he does the blast, hereditary blast again on my war machine, kills it, and then I was able to dispel the bounce spell, the same spell on my Luga. I'm able to dispel it. He tries to put -1 resilience on this unit. I'm able to dispel it. Close combat, he does 2 wounds to me. I do 3 or 4 in return. He has like 1 or 2 wounds remaining. And we were able to do, it was a draw actually, it was a push, a draw. My turn 3, I took some hard decision. I took the charge in the flank with the BSB, and I decided to do the following: use my Overlord to chaff the giant and still be able to countercharge here if needed, and move forward with my Lugard to threat this side of the board. I thought it's not so strong anymore with the Ancestor going this way. Maybe it's better for the Lugard to go this way, but I guess that was not the best decision I could have taken. We will see what my opponent decided to do, but still here I have an Elder to manage. I have 3 War Machines to shoot at him, try to kill him, and if I don't, he still has good charging possibilities, and with my magic I cannot really threat him, so it's still a bit dangerous for me to leave him unoccupied, and because of my bad position I had no way to charge him this turn, so that was a bit the problem for me. I move out with both mage to be able to threat the giant with some blast, and I guess that's it for movement. Magic, I put Pyroclastic Flow onto the giant to 3 wounds, and then I'm able to cast the -2 weapon skill and agility to help my Citadel Guard and my BSB hitting, and then I try Fireball against giant but fail. Shooting, I put everything on the Feldark, both on 4+, this one on 5+, and I'm not able to do a single wound still. Close combat is losing by 2. I'm able to do 1 wound. I have a charge, a flank, a BSB, 2 ranks, standard. But it does a couple of wounds and is able to stick on 7 with no reroll, which is unfortunate for me because now I'm facing a counter charge from the second Elder, which is really bad because both Elder against Citadel Guard, that might be too much for them. His turn 4, taking counter charge, of course, move forward with the Ancestor to threat a bit my remaining unit on the left side to try to secure this spot. Fail the march with giant, moves back out of arc of my Overlord, moves back with the Elder, stays a bit behind with the rest. Magic, I put Hereditary on the Lugar, I'm able to dispel it, and then does the same but fails with the Hereditary by throwing some dice, and tries a Grave Call but fails as well with 4 dice. In close combat, luckily for me, I'm able to do the 2 remaining wounds, so kill the Herald. Therefore, my BSB is not anymore in contact and is unengaged from combat. That's a good news because Citadel Guard are in auto break mode and are pursued by the second Elder who just catches them, which is really bad news. I have several possibilities during the reform with the BSB, but the best one for me is to reform back to be able to charge the second Elder in the back, trying to kill him. And let's move on to my turn 4. My turn 4, I took the charge with the BSB in the back. I moved forward with the Disciples of Lugar, but I wasn't careful with by chaffing the giant. I should have been able to have a line of sight here to still threat the Exalted Herald. Here I'm only looking at 1 unit of horsemen and the giant, which is not optimal. I was able to move back out of charge range of the Ancestor, so it will be still doing nothing in turn 5, which is good for me. And I will be able to shoot at him, and I'm moving a bit forward with scoring unit to be able to score in the final turn. I put the Adept of Witchcraft back into the scoring unit, and I stay here within 24 with the Pyro Mage to threat the giant. And that's it for movement. Magic, 2d6 Pyroclastic Flow into the giant. I'm able to do 4 wounds, so 1 wound remaining because he's Big Brother. I try a Fireball on the giant, dispelled by my opponent. Then I'm able to cast a Wheel Turn on this Elder to help a little bit my BSB. I try to shoot with the Rocket Battery and both Slingshot on... Rocket Battery onto the Ancestor. But I do a misfire, I cannot shoot anymore. And then both Slingshot shoot at the giant, try to finish him off, the last wound. But I wasn't able to do it. And close combat, I have a charge back, but he's steadfast. He's able to pass the steadfast and the reform on a 9 with no reroll. He's turn 5. Ancestor took a long charge onto my Toruk on the 11. I decided to hold because I still need to be not so far away from the objective if I want to win it. I have 1, 2, 3 scoring units who need to be as close as possible from this target, so I needed to hold. He failed the 11. Then what else? He decided to take, since I have no counter charges with the Overlord, basically he uses the giant with 1 wound remaining to chaff me. I cannot really charge him because he has like, I don't know, 12 attacks, strength 6. It's too dangerous for me to go into this combat, I guess. he could really be lucky and just kill me. So I really don't like my odds by facing a giant with 1 wound remaining, because he's striking before me since I have a great weapon. And here I took the charge with the Exalted Herald onto the Lugos. And the rest, nothing too particular. I'm still staying behind with the Hounds at the moment. I was a bit surprised that he didn't use at all his piece of chaff. Into magic, he's able to get a boosted Mark of Doom onto my Pyromage and one-shoot him, which is unlucky. But I think these things can happen if you move out of the unit with mage. I knew there was a risk. He tried to put a hereditary spell onto the close combat. I'm able to dispel it. He's trying to put -1 toughness and resilience and leadership onto them. I'm able to dispel it. Close combat, it does 4 wounds to me. I do 1 in return. He's winning combat, so he's able to heal 1 wound, and I'm able to pass my steadfast. And the BSB this time is fleeing. I was able to do 1 wound, so I'm winning by 2. He was not able to pass the steadfast, and he flee off the board. So, which is good news. I'm able to reform with the BSB. My turn 5. Basically, my thinking was the following: I need to put the BSB not too far away from Lugar and to be in the middle. I use the Vassal Cavalry to try to chaff. I have no other alternative. I will need to pass a 7 rerollable on the terror check to be able to chaff him effectively. We'll see. If not, he will be able to charge my Toruk, and then I have a champion, and I need to try my best to hold. But possibly I will only be able to put 2 units near the scenario, depending on what he does on the charge. Here I decided to move my Overlord back. Basically, the thought process was the following: if I'm anywhere near here, he will be able to chaff me either with the Giant or the Horseman. It will be complicated. If I'm moving into this position, basically, I'm expecting him in 2 rounds of combat to kill almost all the Lugar, and then that I could countercharge with the Overlord. The best case would be with 1 or 2 Lugar remaining to still save them and go into a challenge. But if he kills them, then I hope I will be able to just get the countercharge and finish him off. I think I have good chances with 4 attack on 4 up rerollable, and then 3 up rerollable divine attack. So really good odds for me to win this combat. He has only strength 5, so will do nothing in return. So I should be able to win this combat and make him crumble with the supernal combat result. The rest, basically, I made sure that he will not be able to move with the Hounds between the BSB and the Orc Slave. I wanted to be sure that he will not be able to march forward and block my scoring unit from scoring on the last turn. So basically here I just measure the 6 inches over here, so even if he stops here in the front, I will be able to score with both these 2 scoring units. That should be enough for me. And yeah, I suffered a panic check from last turn from the dead of the Pyromage, so only 1 slingshot will be able to shoot. Magic, trying to cast the Deceptive Glamour, I guess, on the Exalted Herald, but failed. Then I was able to put the Will Turn, but afterwards we read the description of the spell. That was the first time I played with Witchcraft Adept, and I completely forgot that it didn't work against character. It's only for Wreck and File, so I wasn't able to use it on him. And then close combat, it did like almost nothing to me. I was steadfast, I'm able to stick, okay. And I guess that's it. He's turn 6. Charges with the Ancestor, I'm able to pass terror check. He moves forward to avoid me getting a charge onto the warrior block. And then here we're still in combat. I reform in a way, but trying to... I hope that I will lose a couple of Lugar more to be able to countercharge. And he moves back with the Giant to protect the unit of his Battle Shrine. So basically I don't want to go onto the Giant at the moment. It's still scary. I have much more to lose than him, basically. And in Magic, I try the Grave Call onto my Overlord. I'm able to dispel it, and then with Mark for Doom, is able to do 2 wounds to the Overlord. I needed to choose between these 2. And close combat, I did 1 wound, he did 2 to me, so he's still winning combat, healing a wound. And because I did only 2, I'm not able to countercharge this turn, my turn 6, so yeah. I tried this out. I was a bit surprised by the resilience of the Lugar, but I guess that's also because he has only strength 5. I don't think I had better possibilities of going into this combat. Basically, the mistake was done before. Afterwards, it was too difficult to get into the combat. And now, with 1 wound remaining, it's still a bit problematic for the Overlord. My turn 6, basically I didn't move all the units, but basically I just moved both the 3 scoring unit to score. Here I charged the Hellhounds, and that's it, more or less. And I was able to survive with 2 remaining Lugar. And yeah, I tried to put some shots, but I wasn't able to hit anything onto the giant. So yeah, my shooting did 0 wounds during the whole game, which was a bit surprising when you field 4 war machines. Okay, I'm not hitting that well, but still I would have expected a bit more from the war machines. Okay, the result is a 12-8 for my opponent, because I was a bit stupid at the beginning of the game with some mistakes. I think I should rename the channel Watch My Mistakes. I think that would have been much more accurate as a channel name. No, just kidding, but yeah, the Prophet, I give it away too easily. I will analyze that a bit later, but here you see the detail of the points. Nobody took the scenario. So I guess Deployment's idea was not too bad, because I was able to put him quite far away with some of these units. We saw the Ancestor did almost nothing. Yeah, I think that was not too bad to be as far away from him. I should have put maybe the marker a bit more to the left to force him to really think about where going. And then I just made too many mistakes during this game. I guess giving him the charges on the general, I don't know why the general was sitting in his unit. I could have put him behind and then just give the breast weapon onto the champion. That's it. So that was really, really stupid for me to give him two long charges. And I paid it in a heavy way. And then the reform was the biggest mistakes, I guess, because maybe, yeah, losing the Adept was not so traumatic in a way that I was able then to get the Elder. But then I countercharge, I'm not able to kill him, even with 2 combat boosts. And foremost, I did really a bad reform, and that should have not happened. And then afterwards, I guess the Overlord, I chaff 1 turn the Giant. I think that was a good idea. Afterwards, he failed the march check and just moved onto the corner. Then I should have moved the Overlord back onto the Lugar unit, because the Giant was so far away from my line, it was not a threat anymore. And by putting the Overlord back into the Lugar unit, then the Exalted Herald could not come into this unit. So I think that would have given me a chance to go for it on the right flank. Since I decided to go to the right, which is questionable, I'm not sure that was the best idea, because my Lugar could have supported a bit more the Citadel Guard. But when I decided to do so, I should have put the Overlord back into the unit and go for it. And of course, I was a bit disappointed by the shooting, but I guess I need to think a bit more what could happen if everything goes wrong, because I relied a bit too much on the shooting into my decision, and I could have done a bit more. But still pretty happy about the job from the BSB. He was able to get countercharges to kill both Elders, so he did a good job by correcting my mistakes. I think that was it. Okay guys, I hope you like this new battle. I have a new battle report coming soon, again with Infernal Dwarves, again with a bit another list. I'm still trying out some new stuff, so I hope you like it, and see you soon on my channel again. Bye.